Sri Lanka's most powerful news brand.
The amount of money they spent for the purpose of the election in Colombo, any candidate contesting the Colombo Municipal Council would have had to spend at least 5 million rupees. 5 million rupees. Why? And what do they get as a member of the municipal council? I think the salary is 10,000 or the allowance is only 10,000 rupees. So they spend 5 million to get an allowance of 10,000 rupees per month. So now that is not practical, because when they spend that 5 million, they have to go and make money. But under the new system, you have only 1,500 houses, maximum 1,500 houses, and there is no need for spending money for posters, for cutouts, for meetings, for various processions, vehicles, all that. All you need to do is to get a CR book, get a pen, go house to house, door tapping, speak to your people and canvass for their vote. So therefore, they are known, they know who you are, you know who they are, you are responsible for them.
Again,
and that's how we feel that with this system, the corruption at local government level will be brought down by 80 to 90%, because the members don't need to spend so much of money to get elected. Therefore, they don't need to go and be corrupt and make money at the expense of the local government.
Krishpal, I will come back to you as well.
With all due respect to my learned friend, I disagree that his counter-argument ever even prevailed upon my argument. The fact that there were no elections in the north and east, for example, Azad knows Pudukuri Ripu, Mudu Badapattu, until recently there were no elections. The fact that there were no elections and the fact of increasing numbers in electoral vote are two entirely different things. If they didn't have elections, we have peace now, then they can participate in elections. You follow? Let me finish. Yeah, so that's one argument. So you don't need to increase the ward numbers because north and east didn't have elections for 30 years. Now they have elections, they can go and participate. Number two, the existing ward system, if you took out the proportionate representation and took out intra-party fighting, that is where the money was spent, because they were trying to fight inside amongst each other, because local authority elections, you could put all three manapas to one man. You follow? That was the earlier system. So if you took the proportional representation out, but retained the same ward, you didn't need to increase numbers to give more democracy. You could have got that same man to go canvassing around with his friends in the same ward, take the proportional representation out, have first past the post system. You don't need to increase numbers. The numbers will increase only to give more money to your supporters.
No. Rasul, the issue was this. When this new system was brought in, it was the main parties who were against it, and they were putting various conditions for this system to be changed.
That's because
people know No. Because they didn't want this system to come. Now, in fact, lastly, they brought in a proposal where you have to put 30% of females to contest. That increased the number significantly. But anyway, I of course feel it is very good.
Earlier there was a youth quota and a female quota.
No. There was no female quota. There was no female quota.
There was a youth quota.
There was a youth quota, but there was no female quota.
So you could have changed that.
No. Wait to do. So now they have brought in a female quota, which is a very good thing. But even that, most of the political parties are not giving the females their due place. They are just putting names to fill the list.
So let's open the floor for questions. Yes, Chaturanga, I'll give you an opportunity.
Mr. Gunaratna, I want to now you said previously someone would have had to spend 5 million. Now, how are you going to say that same person will not spend 5 million, will spend around 1 million, let's say, will go in and do the corruption that was prevailing in the previous time and save that money as well and earn more from the municipal council?
Chaturanga, as I think once when you interviewed me, I told you, if it is your area, there is a person who comes to get a vote from you, right? You know who he is, you know where he stays, right? And if he doesn't have to spend an enormous amount of money, like maybe 5 million rupees in the Colombo Municipal Council, there is no need for him to go out of his way to make money. There is no need. And even if he does it, that's the last time he'll be able to contest that ward and win.
Once is enough, no, Mr. Gunaratna. You take this much of money that is involved. Once is more than enough.
Area, sometimes the opposing candidate might be getting money from the safe, so you never know.
Ms. Ali, what are your thoughts on this?
Actually, what Krishpal said, two things. One thing he said about a friend in the council who told him about this garbage tender. Usually he was correct in that. I myself knew about how the first tender is given and the first month money has to be given to them. And they bought it to council and shared it. This everybody knows, and it was some papers reported it also. But these things nobody can stop because both parties get together. Not the entire finance committee gets together, leaving the mayor out. Then the rest get together, and this happens. Number one. Number two is about increasing of people that I have always been objecting to. 47 votes in Colombo. We had 53 candidates in the Colombo Municipal Council earlier. 59 contest, 53 are elected. So 47 with another 10 people to include in the national list even could have made it only 57. Why 113? So now the Colombo Municipal Council can't have the council meeting there. Because we have only 53 chairs, that is also tied up completely. So you have to go to BMICH or to Nelumpokuna to have our
No, rent another building for 55 million a month.
Yeah. So this is just a waste of funds. Right? This was.
But
this
Azad,
was
don't you
only
think that this would give an opportunity for parties like Mr. Maitri Gunratna's party, Maitri's party, like the United National Freedom Front, to come up and show their will, show their might in the local government authorities, and then probably go to a national level election.
See,
No, but
Samir,
they
it
could
can't
have
know.
always
It can't know.
No,
It
Azad,
can't.
they could have always come.
See,
No,
they can
yes,
come.
yes.
See, what I always been telling you is, I previously also you asked me the same question. I answered. This time it's not going to be a party election. You take it from me. What I have been right throughout saying. This time it's going to be Gamata Honda Putek. Right? Take it very clear. I've been over and over again. I've been saying this. I'm telling you now also.
Or Duek.
Because
Or Duek.
Putek or Duek. But Duek is very less because all the Duas are coming.
You can't say. No, you can't say that.
I'm telling you why.
No, when you're saying.
Wait.
That's a
Let me
very
tell you,
discriminatory
Now,
remark.
Colombo,
talking about the nomination.
I'm talking about the nomination.
Okay.
Now in Colombo,
There can be a possibility that there can be
you
a
need
female
13
mayoral
women to
candidate as
contest.
well.
Wait till
Yes.
the 47 votes, you need 13 women to contest. 12 is the number, but 13 are going to contest, we'll say. Now this 13 also, you will get about 5 getting elected from a big party. Both the big parties might get 5, we'll say 5. But even the others are in the list. 25% has to be bought into the council, whether you like it or not. So they are just automatically.
So what's wrong with them?
They is wrong.
No.
So
Why is it wrong?
Wait, will you?
Why?
So what I am trying to say, you don't at once. Now see, you take our parliament. You
Let's
tell-
talk about.
wait,
No.
wait.
We're confused.
So example,
Let it be the
I
argument.
am just going to give you an example.
No. I don't know.
No. You have to
Misal,
listen
I
to
don't
this.
want to know.
Samir,
Okay.
1 minute. Please.
But don't.
Please.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
an
Let's
example
not-
only.
let's not mix this up.
Now
Yeah,
see,
okay.
the people in our parliament, the women in our parliament. Either the brother has died and the sister has come, husband died or the wife has come, father has died or the daughter has come. Only 1 or 2 in parliament who have been elected. Everybody else, wait, what happened? No, see, from the prime minister of this country, Mrs. Bandaranaike came after Mr. Bandaranaike's death. Chandrika Kumaratunga became the prime minister and president after the death of Vijay Kumaratunga. Right? This is the history of this country. You have to accept it. Mrs. Ashraf came after the death of Mr. Ashraf. Mrs. Fernanda Pulle came after the death of Talata Atukorla came after Gamini Atukorla's death. Like that, this is the history we have.
What about Roshi Saranaika?
That's why I said no, 1 or 2. You didn't understand. I still said no, except for 1 or 2 women who got elected, and next time they are not elected.
No,
so
you
this
can't
time
say
Rosie was not elected.
No. But now
Why?
you take Chandrani Bandar.
That's father, death of father, no.
Correct.
Father, no. I'm telling you,
he has been elected twice or
That
thrice.
is because she was not elected. Chandrani is after the death of her father. Right? So every woman in
Samir,
parliament.
I think you're digressing on the point.
Yeah.
We welcome women representation.
Not that we don't say no.
We welcome it.
But
we
the
must
number,
welcome
percentage,
Yes.
the percentage is very, very high.
As an outsider, Mr. Tennakoon, what are your thoughts on this? Increase the number of candidates. Maitri is of the opinion that this allows political parties like his party to be able to contest an election, take it to the national level at one day, at one point. What are your thoughts on this?
So I think the increasing of the numbers is not a solution to the problems that the people are facing. You see, increasing of the numbers may be accommodating various other requirements, but what is required is, if you have the right people, the smaller number will not matter. They will know what to do. If you have 1,000 people who don't know what to do there, it will be the same thing.
What about the cost involved? What about the cost involved?
Definitely the cost, the corruption, increase of the corruption, the infighting, all kinds of things will come in.
I need to give Maitri an opportunity as well, because you have 3 people against your argument here. So I'm going to give you 30 seconds to respond, and then we are going to move on. Yes. What's your final thought? I'm going to only give 30 seconds for you on this, Maitri.
Within 30 seconds, it's impossible to explain it, but anyway, I will
try your best.
Make an attempt.
Being a lawyer, you can, of course, try.
No, because now this system was designed, this is a combination of 2 systems. The proportional representation and the ward system, or the first past the post system. So when they had to combine these 2 systems, if they went only on the ward system, what would have happened is, the proportional representation, all the small parties, we'll say for instance the Muslim Congress, the TNA, the JVP, all of them would have opposed this becoming law. So therefore, to safeguard the political interest of other small parties, they had to bring in a combination of the first past the post system and the proportional representation system. So when they brought in the combination, they had to have the wards plus they had to give the proportional.
Thank you very much. So, we are going to
so therefore they divided into 60-40.
Thank you very much.
That increased the number of members.
We need to leave it at that. So yes, Nadeem, you can pose the question.
I'm going to bring this back to the purposes of local government authorities, and I'm going to try and put you in a bit of trouble.
No problem.
You don't mind? Okay.
I'm always in trouble.
You contested for the Eastern Provincial Council, and then after that you contested for the Central Provincial Council, where you gained the most preferential votes among your group, and you became the opposition leader of the Central Provincial Council.
No, not opposition leader. I got the highest, but I'm not the leader of the opposition.
I stand corrected. You got the highest, but you were not the leader of the opposition. Yet, later on, you resigned from the Central Provincial Council. You're now running for, it is indicated that you may be the mayoral candidate of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party.
We still don't know.
We still don't know. When I'm voting for someone, be it local government or be it provincial council or be it at parliament level, I expect them to serve the full term for which I'm voting them for. If someone is elected mayor and I'm one of the people that voted for him, I expect him to serve the full term of 3 years, 4 years?
4 years.
5 years. Full term of 5 years. Now there's a series of elections coming up. There's a local government. Next year, maybe towards the end of next year or the year after that, we'll have the provincial council, and then after that presidential and then parliamentary elections. Can you guarantee that you will serve a full term?
See, serving a full term is not an issue, but with whom are you staying is the issue. Now, when the UNP had come down to 4 seats in the central province, I was asked to go there. I went there, right, and became the first. With the blessings of everybody, became the first. And most of the UNP's problem, I was able to handle and bring about a settlement. Even the appointment of leader of the opposition, they were fighting the first day. So I was able to settle that also, talking to the Colombo leaders, and then and there. All that was okay. But when it came to the parliamentary elections, when I wanted nominations, they felt, the UNPS and the other Muslim Congress leader who was contesting there felt that if I contest in the central province, I will be number 1. And they did not want me to come on that list. Now, if you take the previous election, you saw Kader Ajjar, Halim and Hakim becoming 3 MPs. They reduced that to 2, making way for Kirialla to become 1. Because they don't want 3 Muslims to contest, because that was
that's very hypothetical. That's very hypothetical, Mr.
No, I'm telling you the situation. This is the ground situation. They had
but it comes back to my question of this. If elected, will you serve full term?
Then what happened? Then they said, you please do the national campaign. We will accommodate you on the national list. And they gave, only person who was given a letter is to me, that I will be accommodated on the national list.
By whom?
By the General Secretary, Mr. Kabir Hashim, on the instruction of the biggest rogue in the country, Malik Samaravikrama. Right? Okay. It was given. Finished. Okay. Now what happened?
Mr. You need to take responsibility for
I
all the
have
statements
always
that you're
taken
making.
every
Yes, of
Tuesday I
course,
tell
of
this,
course.
no. So there is no issue for me. I have everything in me, right?
Okay.
Some people
As long
have
as you
taken
take
me to courts also, no.
responsibility.
I
As
have
long as you take
documents, enough
responsibility.
documents. So
Okay.
don't worry about all this. So what I say is always I
Where
can
is this
defend
letter, by
myself.
the way?
So
No, where is this letter, by the way? That was.
you
have it with you.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can give it to you if you want.
No, no,
now I can
I-
ask them to fax it to you. Right. So this letter was given only to me, and the day this list
And
was
then they
going out,
excluded you
the
from-
day
yeah.
this list was going out, Mr. Karuna Nayakamai, as he says, the person who holds the candle, no, he called and told me, Azad, you don't need to worry. You are the 7th in the list. So I didn't worry. I didn't go behind any mother's son that day, right? To ask for a seat in the national list. No. I don't run behind. I have always told you, I don't run behind position. Position has to run behind
But
me.
my question, will
Wait.
you serve a full term?
Then I thought, better not serve a party that does not even know the validity of a letter. That is the United National Party. So that day I decided I must resign, but I will continue to do my work for the people of Kandy, and I am still doing. I have constructed 4 houses, all the projects that I have done, I don't want to
But
say it here.
I'm
but
asking,
still,
will you continue your work
this
for the
I
people of
have to
Colombo?
continue because
Will
this
you
I never
yeah.
asked for. I have been requested to lead the list.
So you will serve
This
a
is
full
the
term?
respect that I got. So that is enough, and I will do my best. And I have always done my best for my
Mr.
people
Sali,
in Colombo.
you will serve a
Continue
full
to
term?
do it. Yes,
You will serve a full term?
definitely.
Mr. Sali, I want to ask you a question. Now, people support various political parties for a reason. They think that that political party that they support will do what these people elect them for. The people are, some people are for the UNP, some people for the JVP, SLFP, so on and so forth. You have been contesting from the UNP, the SLFP, the Muslim
No,
Congress.
no, don't talk like that. Where
Why? Why?
do
Is my
you
question.
contest?
You contest the central province from the
UNP.
United National
Colombo
Party.
also UNP.
Now you are saying you are contesting from the SLFP.
Yes.
Why?
Why is that? I explained to you.
Then where is that policy? Are you?
See, I have my own political party. I am a leader of a political party. My party wanted to contest this election on our own. The president told me, don't do it. Let us work together.
So your policies as the party
one
and the
minute.
policies of the SLFP, do they go in line?
What is it?
Your policies as a party, the National Unity Alliance, and the policies of the SLFP, do they?
Yes,
Are they
very
the same
much,
place?
very much. If you want me, for good, very good question. I was waiting to answer. Nobody asked me this question. Good one. Now, what did we fight for? Good governance. We fought. We bought the change. We sent the biggest rogue home. Right? What did we do? We bought a set of rogues again. They started robbing the country. Now, who is that? I mean, the UNP. Right? Every day you see some minister has packed on a tender or gone and interfered in a tender or done some jugglery. Everything is coming out today. Day by day there is something coming. But today, if you take a clean sheet, you take only Maitripala's sheet is very nice and clean. Because nobody has up to now pointed a finger at the president and said, you have done this wrong. Or even we accused, Maitripala being the president, we accused for him to have accommodated some previous rogues also into the SLFP's national list. We accused. But he has ensured one thing, that this 3 years of governance, not a single SLFP minister had been caught for corruption or bribery or whatever wrongdoings. Not a deputy minister, not a MP, not even a provincial council or anybody. So that is good governance. So that is why we thought that is the right place, and the people of this country will respect the president and vote for the president's party.
I'm going to. I don't know whether Shamir will stop me before.
No,
I
no,
ask
I
the
won't, I
question.
won't. You
I'm
can go
going to
ahead.
ask a hypothetical question. What if the SLFP joins hands with the former President Mahinda Rajapaksa? Then what happens to you?
See, there is no question of joining. That's all.
Mr. Maitri Gunaratna, I'd like to move the conversation away to the people of the country who actually cast their vote and elect you to power. Now, the people's aspirations, do you think we have a critical-minded citizenry to comprehend the nuances of governance? Or do you think that we need to inculcate these values in the minds of the people? Or do you think that politicians manipulate people in order to serve their aims and objectives?
Yeah, politicians definitely manipulate people to for their own advantage. But under this system, that the ability to do that is going to diminish, for the simple reason that it is coming back to the ward. Because now when you come to this ward system, it is the personality, the person that matters. Irrespective of your political party, irrespective of whose son or daughter you are, if you are a person who is good with the people of the ward, you are definitely at a distinct advantage to get the vote. And if you want to continue in that process, you need to continue to do good. So vis-a-vis that, I feel that this system will bring in a more disciplined, less corrupt, and a politician who will serve his area or his ward.
Can't this be done with a lesser number of people?
Well, it could have been done with a less number of people, but unfortunately, because what happened was, when this legislature was to be passed, none of the major political parties or the minor political parties wanted this to see the light of day. For the simple reason, if this goes to the provincial council level and the parliamentary level, you take it from me today, 90% of these parliamentarians will go home. People are not going to elect them. 90% of the provincial councillors will go home. And maybe 70% of the local government people who were elected during the previous regimes also will go home, because they cannot win at a ward level. It is very difficult for them to win in this future election.
Mr. Asad Sali, I have a question for you. It's always interesting to see how you are very vocal about things when you come on this show. Now,
are you talking about women representation or what?
Earlier on in the show, you demonstrated the way in which you had dealt with an illegal construction. Now, there was, one may even say that there were sort of nuances of thuggery involved. So now we're talking about female representation through a quota system coming in at the upcoming local government elections. So do you reckon the women also should adhere to, you know, acts of thuggery as do some men?
See, we don't want even the men to do thuggery.
But you, by your own admission, demonstrated the way in which you had acted with regard to an illegal
He had the power to do that.
We had the power to do it. What I am trying to say is why these people are just overlooking these things, not doing the right thing. A mayor has the power to do it. If somebody is coming up and putting an unauthorized construction on a government land or a pavement where pedestrians have to cross, so the mayor has the right to not even give notice, go and bring it down immediately.
You are duty bound to do it.
Yeah, duty bound to do it.
Duty bound to do it.
So
Mr. Usripala, my final...
Before you finish, about these councils. Now see, to our population, we have a very large parliament. For our population, we have a very large parliament. Like that, we have the provincial system. The provincial system was introduced as a solution to the Tamil people's problem. But the Tamils did not have a council for 30 years. Right? But the provincial council, it's a white elephant. After that, you have a council now which is going to have 53 to 113 people. We are not against the number increasing. But if you double this everywhere, where is the infrastructure going to come? Where is the money going to come? Where are all these unnecessary expenditure? See, if you are giving a council a trip, right? You have to give all 113 to go to China and come.
Right. Mr. Thennakoon, when we talk about local government elections, we're not talking about politics at policy level as such. We're talking about grassroots level politics. We're talking about how will the garbage disposal take place, etc. So do you think that we could see better results under this new system? What are your thoughts exactly on this?
It is partly accomplished, I should say. Because what we tend to forget is, although my learned friend saying, Maitri keeps on saying that this is a system that has come, you know, as if it has come from the blessings of the people. I mean, this is a system that emanated from this parliament, with the opposition and the government sitting and deciding. People did not have any say in this, as far as I know. They decided which should be the percentage for the women, which should be the percentage for the men, and how the votes to be on the percentage basis, proportional basis. I mean, the whole thing came from these parliamentarians. Now this is a parliament that has been elected to place under the most unwanted system that the whole country wants to reject. That is the Manapa system, the preferential system. So these people...
Isn't that happening now?
That is what is happening. These are the people who are taking these decisions about the constitution,
so
changing of the constitution,
now we have
about the economy.
No, that what Mr. Rusripala is saying is he's against the people who have been elected. Now here the parliament itself, against their own wishes, were compelled to bring a system which is against them. That's why it took such a long time for this election to be held. Can't you see from 2010 or 2012, this local government and the change of the election system dragged on, and ultimately it saw the light of day only in 2018.
Mr. Surya, good point. Right? You know, you have Maitri Gunnar saying this is what the people didn't want happening, and now.
I thought you had forgotten that I was here.
No, we certainly did not. Most of the time, Mr. Varasuri, we gave you an equal opportunity to respond. You said 30 seconds, and you went on to respond for nearly a minute or so. But do you think that it's important, the point that Maitri brought in with regard to the change of system that has taken place? So now this is what the people this is what the parliament didn't want, and now it's happening. Isn't that good enough?
No, I don't think that's what parliament didn't want. Yeah. No. I don't think it's what parliament didn't want, because remember my after the 19th amendment also, initially there was a move to go towards the first past the post system and take out proportional representation. Yeah. So that was always, and in fact it was, if I am not mistaken, Azad, I don't know whether Maitri will remember, some of the main manifestos, the main political parties, 2015 pre-January 8, there was a promise given to the people that we are going to move away from this so-called Manapa system and come...
The manifesto said mixed system.
So we had already given that promise even at a national level. So we can't say that this was something that parliament didn't want. It was towards that the people voted. In fact, the people voted for much more. People voted for going away with crossover from one party to another after you voted for them. People voted for a reduction of members of a cabinet. People voted for reduction of expenditure on executive. None of that was given to the people. So we can't say this is not what people wanted. People had aspirations of that. It had not been given, at least at local level. The fact that first past the post has come in place of proportionality is welcome. But what I'm trying to say, and I keep on saying is, people must realize is, you don't need to increase the numbers by double to change first past the post from proportional. You can do that without increasing numbers.
That is what the parties wanted.
Yeah.
No. The parties, if they did not increase the numbers, this system would have never seen the light of day. If they, yes.
Mr. You think so?
You're also admitting that this was done to appease political forces and not for the wants of the people.
Yeah, Mr. Lekon, yes, you were saying.
They supported it because it served their purpose.
Who?
The main parties.
Even today, the main parties are very uncomfortable with this system in place, because it gives more importance to the individual than the party.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your thoughts in the first, second and third and also fourth rounds. I don't know where this would lead to as far as elections are concerned. We will have to wait and see on the 11th of February, if the elections are held on the 10th, as to what is going to transpire and who will be elected as a mayoral candidate. We're going for a short commercial break. When we come back, it's a final round. This is Face the Nation. Stay connected. We will be right back. This is Face the Nation. I start off the final round with our very vocal attorney at law, who's the Joint Secretary of the People's Intellectual Assembly, Krishmal Varanasurya. Krishmal, as an individual, let's keep the assembly aside. Let's keep political parties aside. I know you've been very thoughtful. Every single time you speak from the heart. As an individual, again, seated here, what do the people really want? as far as Sri Lanka is concerned. I'm not talking about the next 1 year. I'm talking about the next 5 to 10 years. You've been in London. You're an individual who left all that back and came to Sri Lanka. You said this in one of the shows. I've been to many countries, China, Melbourne, recently. When looking at how the councils operate in those countries, you feel really sad.
Exactly.
Is this what Sri Lanka has fallen into? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned it, Samir. Trying to teach basic economics to my 15-year-old daughter a couple of weeks ago. Unlimited wants and limited resources. So she asked me, why did Sri Lanka have to raise these funds from private banks at percentages, commercial percentages? I said, because we've saturated ourselves, we've asked for aid, and aid has now come. Now if we earn 100 rupees, we have to pay 120 to pay our debt alone, to service the debt alone. Therefore, we are not going to get capital loans again, so we have to raise it from private part. So then she asked me, so Tati, what about all the taxes that we pay? I said, very good question again. That is my question now, as to I'm wondering whether the fact that we brought you and Mali and came back from England, when there was a war in the country in 2007, thinking that we can rebuild the country, whether that was the right decision, Sami. Because in other countries, people pay taxes, yes, exorbitant taxes, not hidden, not indirect. Direct taxes, even a council, our council tax in London are very high. Yeah. For your vehicle, for you to park a vehicle. But what do you get for that? You can get from A to B. I can go to court, Maitri and I will be able to go to court in a tube. And we get off at Temple Street, and just before that the parliamentarians get off at Westminster and go to Parliament in the same tube train. They don't have view running in front of them and hundreds of policemen that we have to fund for them to go through traffic that all of us are stuck in. You follow? And if we are, and then once again I told my daughter, when you had to be born in Sri Lanka, we had to pay so much money to a particular private hospital. But when Mali was born in London, we didn't have to pay anything for the, if not same, better treatment. Why? Because of hospitalization provided by the council and the state. So when we pay taxes, we expect something back. And now to get that something back, you send your representatives to this. So now you are looking at a local authority election. I'm talking to the people. At national level, you are talking of general election. You need to now make a decision whether running behind green, blue, red, yellow, or whatever the colors of the rainbow that you may wish to run behind is going to give you that promise. If it hasn't given that to you now, please do not be fooled by the professional politicians anymore. Because their profession is politics. By the time they die, they want their daughter or son to take on. And beyond that, if they don't have a daughter or son, they'll try to get some nephew or niece into it and give leadership. So do not be fooled by party politics. You need to go beyond that and think, what do I need? How do I judge as to who's going to deliver that to me? Apolitically, outside of politics, look at persons. You're getting a very good chance at this election coming up. If your party has not put the right people for you to elect, you elect the people that you think are suited for you.
That's what I'm saying.
You elect the people that you think are suited for you. And then that will transcend to a national level. And you demand from your party. If, as I always say, if you are so party oriented that you can't go to sleep without thinking of your party, then you demand your party leadership. We want intra-party democracy. We want to have a say in who you put on our list. Don't give us A, B, C, D, a television star, movie star, football star, a cricket star, and tell us to vote for them. We want these people in our list, and unless you put them, we are not going to vote for you. We are going to bring your voting down, and we are going to vote for, say, some independent candidate. In fact, Shamir, Azad knows, all of them know, I'm trying to actually build up a force where at the next general election, like France, like Europe, like Canada, we can put individuals, professionals, intellectuals, school teachers in every district if we can, independently, and ask the people, are you going to trust them? Are you going to trust the party?
Thank you very much, Krishma Varanasuri, attorney at law.
Krishma must start it in the local government election.
Joint Secretary of the People's Intellectual Assembly. I now move my attention to Mr. Rusipal Tendakon, civil rights activist and also senior banker. 3 days from now, I don't know whether I'll have to say candidate contesting
Unlikely.
upcoming local government polls. Mr. Tendakon, don't you think it's a very sad state of affairs in Sri Lanka? Local government bodies have been in operation for many, many years. Do you think that local government bodies can make any substantial change to the governance structure in Sri Lanka? And if they can't, why even hold a local government election and waste money, waste time? Why? Your time starts now.
Samit, we are all as citizens, peace-loving people, we want to walk into a council where we don't have to go behind anybody to get the right thing done. The whole problem is how some people feel that we can't eradicate corruption. That's not a good way to start the thing. We must say we are going to eradicate corruption. Corruption can't be there. Because the councillors are corrupt, your officials become corrupt. The major part of the corruption that is taking place in the councils today are corruption shared with the officials and the councillors together. Because we know when you want to get a plan passed, how many people have we got to go behind? When we want to get a document done, how many people have we got to go behind? Can't we just walk into a place, get our work done properly? If it is legitimate, lawful work, why do we have to go behind people? When the service is not provided by the workers, why should we go behind the elected representative? Why can't we just telephone an official and say, this is not done, attend to it? And the final complaint can go to the elected representative in case there is no action taken. Now, why can't we have that system in place? If we now think we can't eradicate corruption, that will be there anyway. What is the degree of corruption? Then we must allow, okay, 40% let it be there, 60% we will eradicate. Is that the thing? We don't want corruption at any cost. That should be our aim. And we must have people who can interact and who can work towards that. We should have people who can think of the needs of the people in an electorate. What do they need? Their basic requirements, their health, their walking places, their cleanliness, removal of garbage, accumulation of garbage, health matters, mosquitoes, all these things are part and parcel of the service package. And that has to come in automatically without any compulsion. That is what you were just telling a little while ago. What you have seen as councils in Melbourne, what you have seen as councils in China, this is what we are dreaming for. For people who have not seen what councils are, well, we think 50% of corruption can continue or something, increasing of the numbers, they don't mean anything to us. To me, the increasing of the numbers or increasing of the number of women coming in doesn't mean anything to me. What I want is men or women, numbers or otherwise, the service to be done, provided to the people on a very balanced basis, as on an equitable basis.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sibalkanakon, senior bank as well as civil rights activist. I now move my attention to Maitri Gunaratne, attorney at law, General Secretary of the United National Freedom Front. You've heard two people who are citizens of the country who may be going to the polling booth on the 10th of February and may be casting their vote. What changes would you bring in as General Secretary of a political party? Because I'm going to pose the same question to Azad Saleh as well, so I'm going to warn you ahead. The same question that I'm going to pose to him. What changes would you bring in as far as the local government elections are concerned? What changes would be there?
Razul, first of all, I think I've heard Krishmal and Mr. Rusipala, their comments, and them just going to vote is not going to sort this problem. People like them should come into the political forefront and change it, because they have been instrumental in fighting for this change. Just being a civil rights activist is not going to bring total change. My first appeal is for these gentlemen also to take part not as voters but as candidates who have excellent ideas, excellent knowledge of the problem, but they, like everyone else, they say, no, we don't want to get into that muddy field.
Now, Krishmal and Azad are looking at you thinking probably, are you going to contest the polls?
No. The point is this, I have contested 4-5 elections, as the General Secretary, we are hoping to field about 100 lists for 100 local government bodies, including Trinco Ampara, as I told you before. So I have a responsibility to see that this whole thing is run, and our party is not a party which have very popular leaders. So I need to do the length and breadth of the country to see that this election is effectively fought. Otherwise, definitely. So therefore, what I'm saying is, this is a golden opportunity. It's a golden opportunity, and I would say that this is the turning point of corrupt politics, of indisciplined politics, of people coming and giving false promises. Because with this system, with the local government system, we have bought in the first past the post system. It is going to be continued with the provincial council and with the parliamentary system. So within 3 years, I feel the complete overall of the political system will come in, and after 2020, you will see that it will be only getting better and not worse. So what I'm saying is, there is no point in cursing the darkness. People must come forward. People must put their foot forward. If possible, contest this election and make the change they want to see. There is no point in going behind a bar and having a beer and criticizing the system, right? There is no point in doing that. You must come forward. If you don't come forward, you are not going to change the system. It's going to be the same. So therefore, my humble appeal is, don't criticize. Take the chance. This is the ideal opportunity. It is the election for the individual. So therefore, please come and make this change.
Thank you very much, Maitri Gunaratne, attorney at law. Also, the General Secretary of the United National Freedom Front made a very valiant effort to get Mr. Tennako to contest. Looks like it. However, he just went to the restroom, unfortunately. So we might have to replay this and show it to him later on. I now move my attention to Azad Sali, leader of the National Unity Alliance. Azad, people are now confused. Which political party they have to vote for, which individual they have to vote for.
Yeah, I don't think we should be confused, because we are there.
I honestly wish the people are not confused, but they are indeed. This is the majority of the people. I don't know whether they are going to contest the upcoming local government election or not, because you always get the wrong end of the stick, unfortunately, every single time for the last few years. You are promised a nationalist seat, you were not given. There were 2 individuals, one nationalist MP also passed away. You thought that you may even occupy that seat, but that didn't happen either. So until 3 days from now, we wouldn't know whether you are going to be the mayor candidate or not. But as an individual who supports the president's cause, as you said before, clearly articulated, what do you think should be the way forward for a country election? I don't want you talking about political parties. I don't want you talking about your vision. I don't want that. I want what should be the way forward for a country like Sri Lanka.
See, Samir, like Mr. Susiripala said, the most important place is the local authority. From childbirth to death, it is the municipality that handles. Now people have a lot of expectation. Now everything has to be done through the council. You have to have a system where people will be more accessible. They can get things done over the phone. A one-stop shop. I think when I was elected in 97, I was trying to promote that system. And when I was the deputy mayor in 2001, we started the system, but that has not been followed any longer.
Vision for Sri Lanka. Let's talk about vision for Sri Lanka.
For Sri Lanka only, I'm saying, once you start, when you put these local authorities in order, automatically most of the things will come to a very good standard, because that's the footing. Like the foundation, you start from the Montessori, right? Then only everything comes up well. No, if the Montessori education is not good, then the whole thing is bad. So like what we promised on January 8th, 2015, we are unable to deliver that. No, so that is why all these curses. If we had taken action, now see, the most important thing for the country is the corruption part of it. The accusation that we spoke of during the last election, did we fulfill those things? How many people were caught for corruption, murders? Several incidents had taken place. But today, as a government that gave the pledge, did we do the right thing? So where is the footing going to come? We have still not put the foot at the right place. All the criminals are roaming the city today, talking in all the platforms. You can see us, the JVP, criticizing the government for not taking action against these people. This is the most important thing. If we can't do that, how can we run a country?
You say the JP and other parties are criticizing. I need to interrupt you here. Who are they criticizing? Is the President or the Prime Minister?
The Prime Minister, not the President.
Why not the Prime Minister?
See, all these
why
things,
not the President? Sorry.
No, wherever the President can intervene, has intervened and gone into. And he has even told the UNP very clearly that either you handle the police properly or give the police to me. If you can't handle the Attorney General Department, give it to me, I will handle it. But now, you saw Madhuraya Sobita's crowd going and meeting the President and telling him, please take over the police and the Aegis Department. The President said, no, 2 more years to go. I don't want to burn my finger there. Right? Why? Why did they? Because there is an agreement between the UNP and the SLFP. Right? They said, these are the ministries that are given to you all. These are the ministries that the President will keep. But, still for all, wherever something went wrong, the President has always intervened and told the UNP leadership that these are the things that are going wrong. Right? Even if you take the bond, who started this commission? Before the President could do it, the Prime Minister put a 3-member committee. What did they say? You have to go further.
Thank you very much.
Then the President had to appoint the commission. Now there is no point blaming the President for it.
Thank you very much, Mr. Azad Sali, leader of the National Unity Alliance. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. I really wish that you were a little bit early on the show because...
But Samir, when somebody called me, I very clearly told, I have to go for a function and then after that I'll be here. So you don't need to...
No, I said if you were early, I would have given you an opportunity.
I came late. I already told you.
No, you always
do this, Samir.
When I started the show, I said that you were late.
I said I can't come. They said, no, you must be there. So I said, I am coming after a function.
But I really wish...
Yeah, he does that.
I really wish you came early so we could have heard your policies.
Yeah, Samir. Come on, Samir.
You're fired from there, you're fired from everywhere. I mean, it's a bad state of affairs. Come on.
It's become the moderator now.
Talk about it. Thank you very much,
don't do this, please,
for joining us this evening. 3 days from now, I really hope this time you're not holding the wrong end of the stick. And your thoughts and your aspirations for the country would be fulfilled, and you may be able to contest in the local government polls. But again, I leave it to the people to decide whether you are suitable or not. Thank you very much, Maitri Gunaratna, Attorney at Law, General Secretary of the National Freedom Front. Has been very eloquent. Now he has his own political party. Let's see how things would unfold at the next local government elections. It's the first step for you. Again, I leave it to the people to decide whether you are genuine, whether you can take the country forward. Thank you very much, Krishma Varanasuri, Attorney at Law, Joint Secretary of the People's Intellectual Assembly. It's very important to have a civil rights activist like you voicing your opinion and trying to take the country on the right track. Thank you very much, Mr. Sri Parathendrakon, for joining us this evening and sharing your thoughts as well. You've been very vocal as far as the bond commission, the highway robberies and all that is concerned. But is it your time to contest an election? I leave it for you to decide. Thank you very much for joining us this evening as well. On a very, very lighter note, you heard Maitri Gunaratna's thoughts. Are you still thinking of contesting under his political party?
People like Maitri are doing a great service to the country.
Are you thinking of, you are not responding to my question, are you thinking of contesting the election?
Yeah, I'm seriously considering.
So 3 days from now we would know whether he'll be contesting elections as well. And if you do contest, I again leave it to the people to decide whether you are suitable or not. Again, I want to pose a very quick question to Mr. Varanasuri as well. You said Maitri has your vote right at the
I
start.
didn't say that. I did not say that.
Well,
I said he's a good friend.
He's a
I've
good
known
friend.
him from school. He works with the lawyer, colleague. So if there were people like Maitri, I will consider giving.
Consider. So, would you consider?
I'll probably consider it, definitely.
Thank you very much, Kushmal, for joining us this evening. It's always a pleasure to bring something to light and enlightening our viewers on what Sri Lanka's future political aspirations are going to be. Thank you very much, Nadeem, as always, for joining us. Attorney Adil Sonali Waninga for joining us this evening. Chaturanga, tomorrow you're hosting Newsline. Very quickly tell us who's your guest tomorrow morning.
We're going to talk tomorrow about the export sector and the situation that has come with the tea, the Russia tea ban. We are going to talk to an interesting guest tomorrow. We are going to talk to Mr. Rohan Fernando, and we are going to talk about this tea issue that we are facing.
Well, thank you very much, Chaturanga, for shedding some light. Missing Faraj Shaukat Ali, who is always an integral part on Newsline as well as Face the Nation. So looking forward to seeing him by the end of this year. But Chaturanga is doing a fabulous job on the show. So thank you very much, Chaturanga, for joining us this evening. And tomorrow morning, it's going to be a hectic morning for you as well. I leave you tonight, as I always do, with a quote, some food for thought. Shape tomorrow by voting today. If you think that it won't make sense for you to go on the 10th of February and vote, the answer is no, because your vote is your voice. Your vote is the country's future. Thank you very much for joining us this evening on the show. Take care. Goodbye.